Hey guys, it's Ray and welcome to Maybe You Can Relate. It's been a while. I've been wanting to make videos for a very long time, but between anxiety and depression, it's kind of hard to do that. So, I've been wanting to try something different, like a get ready with me while I talk about mental health and makeup. Not sure I was going to do it on Monday, but it didn't work out, so whenever it gets posted. So I'm trying to do mental health makeup on Monday, but we'll see how that goes. Nothing crazy. I'm not a makeup artist. I just enjoy doing it. And right now I'm just getting ready for work, but I've been wanting to do this video for a while. This past Monday was my birthday, which was the 19th, 33, whoop whoop. And then, let's see, the week before that was April 12th. That is one of my best friend's birthdays and my brother's birthday. And it's also the day that this past 12th, 2 years ago, that I put my abuser in jail. And I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about domestic abuse and assault and violence. There's a trigger warning. I will talk about rape. I will talk about assault, sexual assault, and just things that tend to trigger people, because when I hear people talk about them, they still trigger me. So yeah, let's get into it. So there are a few types of domestic abuse. There's, the verbal, which kind of goes along with psychological, emotional, mental, that kind of abuse, talked down to you. There is obviously physical abuse where they're beating you. There is just straight disrespect. There's manipulation. There's all forms of abuse when it comes to domestic altercations. There are 1 in 3 women that will experience a sexual assault by an intimate partner in their lifetime, and 1 person every 24 minutes is raped or beaten by their partner. So within this video, at least 1 person will have experienced that. I've experienced it. I've been in 4 serious relationships, and they were all abusive in some way or another, and they just got worse and worse and worse as I dated other people, knowing how to pick them. So basically, let me see. I had to put my abuser away, and for anybody listening who's contemplating whether they should leave or call the police on your abuser, do it. They don't care when they're doing what they're doing to you. It doesn't, hurt them. It helps you feel at ease, like you're taking care of yourself, especially if you have children. Cannot stress enough. If you have children, get out. I laid in silence so many times while I was raped by my fiance. He used to throw picture frames at me, grab my face, and anybody that's had that done to them knows how awful that is and disrespectful, or when they throw things at you or pour drinks on you. And it's okay to report them. It doesn't make you a bad person. It just shows their real character, and it makes you a strong person. The perception that if we tell on them we're the bad people is where things get messed up. No. If you report them, you did the right thing if you feel like your life was in danger. My life was in danger. If I didn't go to the cops, I would have been on the news. So those were my options, and I have a 10-year-old to think about. So it's just crazy, and a lot of my friends have experienced it. I have a friend now, her boyfriend is just quite the gem, and he poured a White Claw on her while she was driving, and she got out to try to clean herself up, and he proceeded to pour the rest on top of her head. Wow. I personally have been in relationships where I was controlled, manipulated, physically abused, sexually abused, emotionally, psychologically. That was probably the worst. And all those built up to the last one, up until I went to the cops. And that was kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back, if you will. And after that, I went through a major depression, and I still suffer severely. On my birthday, I was in bed by 9 o'clock crying because you get the feeling of like, why am I here? Because it's a trauma that you really can't get over, and that's really unfortunate for a lot of people. we, as women and men, 1 in 7 men will experience domestic violence. I know plenty of men who are good that their girlfriends are the abusers. They're the mental manipulators, you know. And 1 in 7 men are also assaulted, either, you know, by an intimate person, which is, you know, people think that that sounds crazy, but it's really not that crazy. So that's just something that we need to think about. Women get the title for being all crazy, and we say men make us that way, which, you know, sometimes they do. But you can't play a victim and also make someone else a victim. Like, either leave or don't participate or go to the cops. Don't stay somewhere where you're not being shown the utmost respect. I know too many girls and women who their men think that sex is a chore for you know, us, and it's not. We're not robots. And to avoid a fight or another situation, if you go out with someone and they treat you nice and they treat you good, a lot of women have a tendency to feel an obligation to have sex with them, and that's not true. I know plenty of women that have sat there and cried and their boyfriends don't care, I would be included, just to avoid a fight. Because it's, why aren't you having sex with me? You must be having sex with someone else. As if we would have time, since you're always up our ass. But, not the point. But that is a definite manipulation move to just try to get you to have sex with them. And it's terrible, but we do it, or people do it. I did it just to avoid a fight and, you know, like, just to avoid the name calling and the disrespect and, you know, all that good stuff. No one's ever gonna want to be with you because you're crazy. Yeah, okay. Well, you're making me that way, so what do you expect? And I just know so many people that go through this, and nobody wants to talk about it. We feel that, you know, because we love this person, we wouldn't want to see them in jail. And if we're just being honest, I could have had the person that I got arrested deported, and I chose not to because he had 2 young daughters and I felt guilty, and, you know, I was like, jail's enough. He doesn't need to be deported. Looking back, I should have got him deported, and not for mean reasons or whatever, but I mean, he was abusive. He was the worst. And because I didn't get him deported, I still would hear from him, and I would still be harassed from him and his family. And, you know, the law system in Florida is so fucked. Sorry for my language, but I had to leave our house because I was being abused, and I was in fear for my life and the life of my child, because he threatened to kill us both. Florida is one of the only states that does not allow you to break a lease due to domestic violence. As if moving in, I knew that he would try to kill me. So, make sure that if you know that your partner tends to be violent, don't get a lease with them, because you'll end up having to pay for it, even though both of your names are on it. So don't make that decision that I made to do that. To, you know, I would never want to hurt anybody. I would never want to hurt anybody's feelings. But why do we have to just sit back while they get to just live their life afterwards with nothing, while some of us, me, have to do trauma therapy, you know, depressed for days. It's been 2 years now, but, you know, self-harming, having to take medication that you don't want to take just so you can make it through the day, because you just never know. You're fine 1 minute, you get a trigger, and boom. I had to make sure I was mentally in the right state of mind to be able to even make this video, because... Why am I doing my makeup like this? I'm working outside. Because... I lost my train of thought. Yes, but I should have got him deported, because then we're made to look like the bad guys. Oh, that's... sorry. ADHD, that'll get you. I constantly have to deal with this depression of, not being able to get out of bed sometimes, or just my thoughts will run rampant, like I'm not worthy enough to be here because of how past relationships have done me. And before that relationship, I was with someone who would tell me, you don't dress sexy enough, I want you to wear this, I want you to do that, blah, blah, blah. And then the next one that ended up going to jail would be like, you look great in anything, and da-da-da-da, because that's what they do. They charm you. They charm. They make you feel like the best person in the world. And then as high as on a pedestal they'll put you is as far as they'll knock you down. It's terrible, but it's true. The one before that would be my son's father, and we had a very rough beginning as it was. The pregnancy, he was just very jealous. He didn't want me wearing makeup. He didn't want me wearing clothes. He threatened to stab people at 7-Eleven if they looked at me. Now, that was 10 years ago. People do grow and mature. Anyway, and so, and before that, I dated someone when I was 18, 10 years older than me. He was into drugs. That was the first time I was ever hit by a man. That one was a lot too. So my point is, if people are making you do things that you don't want to do, don't do them. Leave. Being alone is not the worst thing in the world. I've been alone. I've been happily single for 2 years because I cannot put other people through what I'm going through. I'm still healing. Some days I'm like, oh, it's happening. But because I have PTSD 5, which is complex PTSD, which is the worst kind you can have, I'll be fine for a day, and then I can spiral for months of just depression, of not leaving my room, of not leaving my house, of barely making it through work, going to the bathroom and crying, and it's pretty freaking horrific. I'm not gonna lie to you. It is. It's a battle. It's a struggle every day. And the doctors told me that it's something that you might never recover from. People with that type of PTSD sometimes don't recover. And if they do, depending on when trauma started and all that, but for me, mine started when I was 8 and just kind of worked its way up the rest of my life. And it would take at least 10 years for me to feel what normal was to me before all that happened. So I either have my whole life or 10 years. I try to actively work on it. Not all the time, because sometimes I can't move, but I do try to work on it and hope that it gets better. But this is just a small part of the story that I felt like I wanted to share because I miss doing my videos, but between depression and anxiety, it gets extremely hard to do them. But I feel like I have a lot to say, and not just about me, but my experience, and to inform other people of these things that are going on, especially because of COVID. I mean, does anybody know how much domestic violence or child abuse has gone up since COVID started? It is unreal. I have a very good friend who works for a police department. He's actually a detective. Excuse me. He's a detective, and sometimes my friend will tell me these stories, and I can't, she knows the ones I can listen to and the ones I can't listen to. When my friend told me about the White Claw incident, I started crying because I remember that feeling of feeling so helpless and so helpless. That's it. That's all you are. You feel helpless, and they make you feel that way. They make you feel like you're worthless. Like my ex used to say, try to act like he was slicing his wrist and say, no one would ever want to be with you. which is wrong. Even though I've been single all this time, it's because I choose to be single all this time, because it's not fair to someone else to have to deal with all that I deal with, like not wanting to talk to people for days and what have you not. And I'm just not ready. Like, I just don't want to. I don't necessarily have like jealousy or trust issues, but I have trust with how I'll be protected. My dad's a piece of shit. So I never really got the, my mom's ex-husband, this amazing woman, her ex-husband was so shitty. And I don't want that to happen again to me. You have to be careful. You think you know people, and she knew him for 20 years before they got together. You think you know people, and you don't. So I don't really have a great male example to look up to, but now that I've been through what I feel could possibly be every worst situation that you could possibly deal with in a lifetime, as far as, what you go through with domestic violence and domestic abuse, I think I know what I'm either looking for or really not looking for. Okay, that butter's expensive. So this is just something that I kind of want to do every Monday. I'll probably do a different topic. Maybe some days I'll do my makeup. Maybe some days I won't. I don't know. I do it okay sometimes. But I just want women and men to be safe and to be happy, and for everybody to live their best life, and to realize, so many people stay because they're either financially stuck, or I'm blessed enough to have my mother that, let me stay with her after I got too depressed and whatever to deal with the house that I was in before. And I'll never be able to thank her enough. And just leave. Find anyone. Real friends will take you in, even if you have kids. Just don't stay somewhere where you feel like you could be hurt, because you want to be healthy and happy. And I try, and some days I'm like, yes, I am so happy. And then other days I'm just like, what's the point? I don't want to be here anymore. But I know that that's just the trauma talking, so I don't listen to it. I try not to listen to it, because it does get pretty loud sometimes. But that's, people have to be honest about these things so they feel like they have people to talk to. I text my cousin whenever I feel dark or tired, and I don't mean sleepy. There was a Netflix special called Cracked Up, or All Cracked Up, and it's about a comedian that was on SNL, and his mother stabbed him in the tongue when he was 5. Just put a butcher blade right through his, right there. And he used to not know why he would always see red until he went to trauma therapy, which is why I started going to trauma therapy, because it worked. Trauma therapy does work. Well, my insurance ran out and I can't get it anymore, so I have very rough days. There's not enough help. Having PTSD or being in an abusive relationship or having mental health problems, you're just as sick as someone with cancer, because people can die from cancer and people can die from suicide, and not enough people talk about it. So I just want everyone to be aware that just because people seem like they're okay, they're not. You have friends that are in abusive relationships, they can't see from the outside, but just try to tell them things will get better. You don't have to live in fear. You don't have to be with somebody. I've definitely figured out a lot of things about myself since being single for a long time. I can reupholster furniture. I paint things. I'm a little bit more creative. I do feel better when I feel, how do I say this? If you're happy in a relationship, that's great. I want that for myself one day too. I'm sure everybody does. But I'm not rushing it. However, do not think that because you're alone that it's the end of the world. You'd rather be alone or you'd rather be dead. Sounds kind of graphic, but it's true. And that's kind of how my mom had to put it to me. But it wasn't about being alone at that point. It was just about the family unit that we had, and his stepdaughters love me. So that's kind of what that was about. But, you know, you have to think about your own children first. And if, you know, you have to leave, you gotta go. That's it. Like, what else are you gonna do? There's nothing else to do. You just leave. You just go. I did. And although I can't say that I'm so happy and this and that. I mean, I was like holding in tears trying to blow out my candles. I could barely make it through my cake because I was so depressed. Because it's so close to the time that everything happened. So, with that being said, I'm not going to say it's all peaches and cream when you leave an abuser, because it's not. Especially if you dealt with it for a very long time, or multiple incidences, or it's just fresh. And even when it's not, you know, it's hard. It's rough. And if you form, you know, a PTSD that takes time to recover from, it's not an easy road. Not an easy road, guys. I'm telling you that right now. It is horrific. It's hard. It's sad. You know, the saddest thing is when you can't control it and your kids have to see you, you know, you put on the face, but if your children, you know, love you and know you, they know when you're upset. So it's just hard, because to see your kids upset because you're upset about something that you can't control, even though you try to put on a brave face, you know, that sends you also, that'll start your depression to continue spiraling, because then you'll start feeling guilt, and you don't want to do that. This is, you know, beyond your control. Meditate, jog, run. I started running. I wouldn't even run if someone was chasing me a year ago, and I started running. I haven't been running lately, but I did when I was going through what I thought was the worst depression until the past couple months popped up, or the past month popped up. And, you know, this isn't just for moms, it's for everybody. You can be single, or not single, you can have no kids, 8 kids, you know, the situation just can apply to everybody, and that includes men too. Like, don't stay where you're not wanted. You know, we can't do this whole, oh, men are the worst, and oh, women are crazy. I won't do that. The men I've dated are the worst, without a doubt. You know, a lot of issues because of it, but not all men are bad, and I'm aware of that. I'm not bitter towards men. I'm bitter towards the one that beat me up, or that beat other women up, or make them feel like they're not, you know, worth it, or like they don't deserve better. I'll never forget when my son's father 10 years ago, or 9 years ago, said, you're never gonna find anybody that loves me the way that I do. That's the point. Remember that. And with that being said, I am out. This is my makeup look for today. If you guys want to know what I used, if you care, because it kind of looks all right, just comment or inbox me, or right down below. Subscribe, follow, all the good stuff. I'm going to try to put more videos up. I feel more comfortable doing my makeup while I am doing this, because I feel like I'm not just staring at a camera and then I get really like, you know, so I just would rather make it feel more conversational, so it's real, because I'm not going to sugarcoat and just be all, you know, domestic violence and people get hit and this and that. No, I'm going to be honest about what it's about, what the effects are after, because the after effects are the worst. And sometimes, depending on what you've been through, the after effects are worse than what you actually went through, and that's something that you have to deal with as well, just so you're aware. But be healthy, be in healthy relationships, communicate, talk, and stay safe, and be safe out there, because it's a dangerous world. So I hope to see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and have a great day.